time has come again. The champion must end. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut up and bring it to me. Defend your
Sha-na-na-na-na, bring it to me. Defend your movement. I rock out to that. Hello there, everybody, and it's time for another edition of your favorite podcast. This is the DYM podcast. I am Dutch. I am one of your hosts, Sean Donnelly, joined here by Bruno Indian Head. You know him as Andy Fiore or the Cool Breeze. He's bringing back We had such a great fun going over our porno names from last week that Andy on our StreamYard cast, his name is now Bruno Indian Head. That should just be your name from going forward.
I like to change it up every week and give the kids something new to keep it fresh.
I feel like it should be a rule. Every time you call yourself Bruno Indian Head during the podcast, you have to have an erection. You have to have a boner every time that's happening.
Well, done and done. And I mean done. Good to see you there, Shawnee. How's it going over there?
Good to see you, my friend. It's going pretty damn well. Everything's good over here. Not too much craziness going on. You know, it's just still COVID living and
COVID living.
Me just doing my daily phone calls to the family, and I'm still dating that young lady, and everything's going good there. So.
I saw you post. I saw you had a social media post.
I did.
Big step in a new relationship.
It totally is. Yeah, it definitely is. And I put up. You know why I did it was because she came to. I did a show outside. Our friend Amanda.
Also another big step in at least for a comic in a relationship.
Yes, totally. But the greatest thing about Megan is that she. One of the great things about Megan is that she didn't care, like, not that she doesn't give a shit about stand-up, but like it doesn't affect how she feels about me stand-up wise, which is like so a dream come true.
Phenomenal. I'm so happy for you.
Oh my God. It's like, so and don't get me wrong, like I did the show, it went well enough, but I did a show outside at this Peruvian restaurant. Our friends Amanda and Natalie, they run it. Oh, actually, no, Natalie doesn't run it. It's Amanda and this other girl, Elle. They run a show called Comedy, which nobody's really shushing about this comedy because everybody knew about it. Yeah. Oh,
I didn't get the shush part.
Oh yeah, like you think it's like a shit? I
thought you just called comedy. I went, well, you get right down to business with that name.
No, it goes. Comedy. It's called SHHH.comedy. That's what the name of the thing is. Well, that's what their Instagram thing is.
Oh, like quiet comedy.
Like quiet. It's hey, it's still during COVID. It's comedy, but it was outdoor. The show is outdoors.
They don't pronounce it shush comedy?
No, that's not the way it's spelled.
Crazy kids.
Crazy, wacky kids. Anyway, so I did their show. It was fun, but because it's outdoors, you run the perils of whatever's happening on the street. So. Though there's these, I don't know if the public knows about this. They do it a lot in the West Village. They would do it at the cellar all the time, where you'd be outside of the table of the cellar, and kids would come up to you and try to sell you cookies or candy, and they would pretend it's for like their school or something, but you knew full well that it was just for them. Which I don't knock it. Go ahead, do you.
I'm sell whatever some of those kids through college, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been up there 3 seconds, and some kid walks into the tent where the show is and just beelines up to the microphone. And then at one point I go, what are you doing? So I'm giving commentary.
I'm communicating, babe.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta get the word out.
And this kid walks up to me and then at one point tries to grab the microphone.
Of course. These fucking city kids have confidence, dude.
Kids have crazy confidence. So that was the beginning of my set. And then I was like, making commentary about how well my career is going because this is where I'm at. And I'm doing a show where this kid's heckling me and whatever. And then after that, I did some of the jokes and it went decent. And then I got off stage and me and Megan, we left and it was a good night because we ate dinner there. It was good food.
Wow,
so
that's great.
So the reason I bring it up is because the picture thing, there was this guy we know, Photo Juice. I forget his real first name, but he goes by Photo Juice. Really nice guy, great photographer. And he was doing that thing where he was taking pictures of the show, and he goes, "Do you want me to take a picture of you guys?" So me and Megan got a free, really good picture out of the deal.
A free, really good picture. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, pal. I also been seeing the same young lady.
Ooh.
And I also brought her to the first stand-up show that she's seen me perform on.
Dutch and the Cool Breeze, Parallel Lives, Yin and Yang.
This was Friday of almost about a week ago now on the New York Comedy Club penthouse rooftop setup they got going over there. And it's like a 7 o'clock show. And for whatever reason, they usually have me go up last or I go up first for the booker. She always puts me right after the MC or I close the show.
Right.
I guess, you know, we're very high energy guys. Mm-hmm. And so this one, I'm up first on this show. And dude, there were 6 people there. Yeah. And it could not have gone. It was fine, but it was just like, it wasn't bombing because it was just like, there were 6 nice people there. So they're just going, yeah. You can't kill in a room like that.
Also, 6. So you're not even saying this. 6 people in 25-degree weather. Like it's
right.
Yeah.
And so it didn't go as well as I would have liked for her to see me for the first time. But then again, it's also that thing where you go, like you said, I don't really care because eventually, if this goes anywhere, she'll see me murder and she'll see what it's actually like.
Yeah,
and but it is that first impression you kind of think you're like, I promise it's not always like that. I promise I'm good at this. I swear I'm not normally like that.
And also, she's not thinking of it as how you're thinking of it. Because I was commenting on what was going on stage, and then after I was done, Megan goes, I thought that was great. Because I think she was reacting to how I was reacting on stage. But I'm like, oh no, I was just kidding, and whatever. It's not.
I know our little things about what we have going on in our head about our set are not what a normal person thinks. I'm like, God, I was mush mouth. I did that all out of order. She was like, it sounded great to me, and I'm like, no, you don't know. Shut up, just stupid whore.
but that's good that you guys have been hanging out. It's a good sign if you're still hanging out after that. Because
hanging out, it's we've once a week for a couple weeks now. So it's hard in COVID, man. You don't want to really you don't really know how to be. What's the word? It's not like, hey, we can just go and
go chill
tomorrow, in the movies, and then we'll go get dinner, and then we'll go to my house. It's like, no, I have to pick these very specific things to do. Yeah. And then you have to really tiptoe around a lot of things because you don't have the normal routes to take to being so you want to go back to my place after this? How about, you can't. You can't because people are nervous about this whole pandemic thing, I guess.
I know it's shaping up to be something. I don't even know. I don't know. There's a whole big hullabaloo about this pandemic thing. It's been going on for over a year. It's not whatever.
But I will say that she does watch a lot of stuff, and we do talk about a lot of. So, one of the movies I'm going to talk about today, it is good to know how people feel because I'm like Rob in High Fidelity. I think liking the same movies and TV shows and comic stuff is important in a relationship.
Yeah, he goes movies. What does he say? Movies, music. These things matter.
These things matter.
It's true. I agree.
Yeah. So I'll give you my take on that. But today is a big day, I know, for you and for me, Shawnee, because as soon as we hang up here, Papa's getting a brand new phone.
Oh my God, be still my heart.
I thought you'd like that one.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. What? Wait, what is happening? Also, first off, why was I not consulted before this?
Because I knew I was going to talk to you this afternoon because I'm out in Jersey. I got to drive my mom to get her vaccine.
All right.
She got an appointment, but it's an hour and a half away from her house.
Yeah.
It's down in South Jersey. So she was like, would you just come drive with me so I can get it? I'm nervous about the directions. I don't want to have the vaccine. I said, yeah, of course. So I got to drive her to do that. So I came out a day early, and
you get to go to one of these luxurious Verizon stores.
Yeah, babe. So
these campuses of Verizon.
So it just this weekend and this week, like I said, I was out on my date, and I took an Uber from Queens to New York Comedy Club. I met her there. I leave my house with my battery at 100% and I put on Spotify. I get to New York Comedy Club, which is about a 25-minute drive. I'm at fucking 33%. Now with the iOS 14 or whatever the last update was, I can't keep track anymore. I think that actually did more worse than good to my phone. My phone can't handle these new updates because it's so old. Andy, so it's becoming more buggy.
I've been telling this for a fucking year.
I know, but I'm stubborn.
I go every time you update the software.
I should have updated.
Yeah. If you didn't update, you wouldn't have had the battery problem. It's pulling on your battery. Absolutely.
Well, you'll be the first phone call. How about that? I'll give you the maiden phone call.
All right.
Maybe not a phone call. Maybe a text.
A text. Yeah. Let's be honest. What is this? 97? Relax. What is the?
I can hear you on the other line.
Kramer may be a problem with the phone. I'll call you back.
Kramer, your phone's a piece of crap. Goodbye.
Wait, so you're getting? I'm guessing you're getting an iPhone.
I'm getting an iPhone. I'm too stuck in my ways now to.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go 11. I don't know if I need to spend $1,000 for the 12.
Andy,
what?
You hold on to your phones for years and years and years. So think of it this way, you'll get an extra year, especially somebody like you. You'll get an extra year out of this phone if you get the newest phone and just spend the money and just spend the one where you pay it off or whatever.
Yeah, that's what my plan was, to put it on my payment plan for my phone bill. But
yeah,
I guess that's true. Yeah.
It's not, you'll have the faster processor.
That's a great point.
The software will last longer. You're going to use it. You had a 6 before this. God damn it! This
is only my second iPhone. I've owned one before this. This is only my first iPhone, my second iPhone in the history of iPhones.
Oh my God, this is a disaster.
I hold on to them. I don't don't feel the need to get new phones every time a new one comes out.
Even more the reason that you should get the newest one so that you'll have this.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You'll have it for 5 years probably.
That's a great point. I know. This one's 6 years old. Yeah, good point.
And then this way the software.
I know, because when you break it down over 2 years, it's only like another $3 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah, totally.
So now let me ask you this: do I get the Pro Max or whatever, just like the regular iPhone 12 Pro?
Well, that's personal preference. It depends on what size do you want.
Well, okay.
Like so,
I don't like them huge. I don't want a movie screen in my pocket.
You can get. They have smaller options. They have. You can go. Yeah. Oh shit! Not options. The rapper.
That's me.
No, but you can get one that's like not what the 6 was, maybe not as small as that, but comparable in size to that. Like the one I have,
stand to use a little. I'll go and shop around.
Have them show it to you and decide what you want in your hands. The Max might be like, you'll think it's a tablet. You'll be like, the Max, you'll get it and be like, is this a time machine? I have no idea what this is.
Right. The other thing too, I guess, 11 is not 5G and the 12 is.
Yeah, that's another reason.
So,
and then you're gonna have the 5G service because you have Verizon, right?
I just want battery life, whatever the strongest battery life is.
That's 12. Get the 12, dude.
All right, you're right.
Verizon owes me $12. I just upsold Andy. I should work at one of these fucking places.
Yeah, really. You really should. We were walking around in Vegas, and I don't even say anything. We walked by the Apple store. You go, why don't you go there and get a new phone? Where'd that come from? You getting a commission? You were really being pushy about it. So go, why did you get it? You really should. You just really could have a second career there.
Just call me the subtle salesman, Andy. I befriend people for years, and then they buy a phone off me. Like the longest con ever. Like, let me become friends with this guy for 10 years, and then he'll get a phone 10 years later, and I make $50.
So let me get this straight. Mom and Pop established themselves for 48 years.
Apparently. Or no, evidently. What does he say? Evidently.
Yeah, something like that. So that's a big afternoon. I'm going to go over to the Short Hills Mall after we hang up and shop around. I'll see what they have.
I'm so jealous.
I'm excited. It is exciting because like you get used to the shittiness and you go, once you get a new phone, you go, oh, my phone's been on for 3 days and it's only lost 10% of the battery. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're gonna get this phone and you're gonna react like you're Marty McFly going into 2015 and Back to the Future too. Like you're gonna get out and it's just gonna be holograms and all sorts of shit.
Oh baby.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And then you'll get used to this, and then 6 years later you'll get another phone that's gonna be like probably implanted in your brain or something.
Yeah.
They have that now. That's what Elon Musk is doing. He's doing like implanted chips in people's brains. He's like, yeah, it's working out pretty well. The last thing I would do is take a chip to put anything on my body from Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why the stock's down today. Jeez Louise, I'm taking a bath over here. Well, so that's the big news. And I did watch one thing that was brand new, hot off the presses. Very funny movie. Barb and Star visit or go to Vista Del Mar. It's a very complicated title. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. That's what it is. It's the Kristen Wiig, Annie Mumolo team. She was, mostly her writer for Bridesmaids, or co-writer with Kristen Wiig. And I guess they've been, like a comedy team for going back in the day now. But they co-star in this. And dude, very funny and silly and odd. Not what you think at all. You think, oh, this is going to be a character-driven movie. Like the trailer reminded me of like what SNL sketch movies became. And I was like, oh yeah. It's, because the characters are two like Nebraska mid-40-year-old divorcees, and they talk in that, oh yeah, Star, kind of like that. So you go, I don't know if I could do an hour and a half of that. But
as you just said that, I was like, I don't know if I could do an hour and a half of that accent. Yeah.
It's very funny and it's very offbeat and it gets weird at times and the plot's hilarious and it was really a surprise. It's everything I liked about a comedy. They had, kind of slapsticky stuff, very clever jokes written in there, funny acting, funny cameos. It had like what I like. It reminded me of kind of the Adam McKay, Will Ferrell stuff where they aren't afraid to get weird and like just this isn't giving any sort of plot away. But there's this one part where this character is giving one of these very dramatic speeches and she's an evil kind of character. She has a whole plot to destroy the world or whatever. I'm trying to be vague on purpose. And so the music score comes to a, dramatic pause and she looks down and she goes, some of you are still off. The others, you get cheese. And it's just this group of mice playing the music, dude. I lost my mind. And some of the mice, she goes, you other ones, the string sections get cheese. And they went, yay! And they run off. It just came out of nowhere. It was really funny. Like an oddball kind of comedy. I recommend it, dude.
Oh, that's really fun. I like it. I want to check it out. You can rent it, right? You rent it?
Well, don't tell Marianne Fiore, but it was $20 on her on-demand cable. One of the benefits from coming home and visiting your mom.
She thinks this good son is coming home. You're robbing her blind.
I'm not paying for it.
Marianne
it's on demand, yeah. On demand right now.
She wanted to hawk for this freaking all these on demand. She loses the house because of all the on-demand movies she bought.
There'll be no Christmas this year, kids. And you watch too many movies. But I very highly recommend it.
Oh, what a nice man coming to my house and helping with my appointment. Like, here's the cable bill, $4,000. I'll try.
These titles are a little wishy-washy too.
I'll tell you, I have a defense to make this week.
Ooh, a retro defense? Retroactive defense?
Retroactive defense. It was a rewatch. It was a defense on a rewatch. And I every time this movie comes up, I think people don't give this movie enough due. I think and I think I have the theory why. And I'll tell you.
Ooh, sorry.
What?
I forgot. I have a thing in my notes. I just forgot one more quick little connection.
Oh, go ahead.
Barb and Star before we get into a whole new topic, because it immediately made me think of you. There's a beginning scene right in the first 5 minutes of Barb and Star. There's a actor playing a scientist, and I'm going, where the fuck do I know this asshole from? And all of a sudden, it hit me. It's Jerry. Would you like a champagne coolie? Yes, that guy. It's Champagne Cooley. He's the Wigmaster.
The Wigmaster.
Which has one of our favorite. The guy has one of our favorite lines of all time. Is, have you been on the slide at Club USA? It's intense.
No, that's Michael McDonald.
That's Michael McDonald, but he says it to the Wigmaster.
Yeah, he says it to the Wigmaster. He goes, "Yeah, have you tried the slide at Club USA? It's intense." Oh, he's in it. He's awesome.
Yeah, he has a small cameo, and I went, the Wigmaster. Good to see him getting some work.
I think he might have been on SNL back in the day, in like the 80s. I think the Julia Louis-Dreyfus cast, he might have been on SNL.
Really? I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong as well. But I feel like a guy that looks like him was on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Either way, found a little Seinfeld pop up.
Oh, nice. Champagne Coolie.
Champagne Coolies.
That's what I want to be called from now on.
I like the chair. He goes, he just accepts. He goes, yeah, I guess we're doing this. He's drinking Champagne Coolies with.
Anyway, so the rewatch I wanted to bring up and kind of do a little defense of, which I think you like this movie, but I like to preface it by saying that it's a movie that I think when it comes up, people kind of are indifferent to it. But I think if you really rewatch it, it's a really quality thriller and it's a freaky movie and it's creepy and they do a good job. So I think there's a certain type of aesthetic that tries to be pulled off when it comes to LA thrillers. And okay, so the movie I mentioned last week, Little Things, tries to do it, and they don't pull off the LA feel to me as much as some other ones do. And it all stems from Michael Mann movies. Michael Mann, To Live and Die in LA, kind of started this certain type of drab, like lonely look of LA, and like kind of dry looking and shot a certain way, and shooting the highways and shooting the far away shots of the road. And I think ever since To Live and Die in LA, people have been trying to recreate that same LA look. And
that or Chinatown.
Chinatown also, but To Live and Die in LA was 80s, and this has an 80s look. And even
okay. I can't think of it. I wonder what it is.
It's Nightcrawler.
Ooh, I'm not that familiar with it.
But have you seen it?
I don't know if I have.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Yeah. I was thinking of a way older movie because you mentioned 80s. I was trying to think of 80s Nightcrawler.
You think of Nightcaller. You think of Nightcrawler. Were you thinking of Nightcaller? Because there's another one called Nightcaller. That's like a thriller.
So Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yes, I have. It's good. I do like it.
Okay, yeah, but I think I was like, oh, that was good. But I watched it and rewatched it, and I was like, it's really good. And he's really good in it. And I think I could be wrong, but I think it came out around the time of Zodiac. So I think I could be totally off base with this, but I think that's the reason people gave it no mind, because Zodiac was the bigger movie, and I think people thought it was the same kind of thing. What? 2014. Zodiac was what? What was Zodiac?
I want to say 08 or.
Oh, all right. So I'm way off on that, but I don't know why it didn't get the attention. But I think it's like a well done little movie. It has Renee Russo's in it, and she's actually really good in it. I don't usually like Renee Russo, to be honest. I think she's kind of corny. But and then but she's in it, and she's really good in it, and it fits her. The role fits her really well.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it.
And he's really good at being creepy. Like, he's really good at being. It reminded me of him and Donnie Darko. How creepy he is in Donnie Darko. Mm-hmm. And the way they have it set up, the way they show LA, the way how desperate it looks, how like even something as simple as him, like, the whole plot is he's not a found footage, but he's like a freelance news footage guy trying to find the most horrific shit that he can sell to the news stations. And even as something as him typing in the titles of the different footage that he banks is terrifying. One is like toddler stabbed. Like, even those words, is like, they never show you it, but just him typing it in, you're like, ooh. So it has these cool little, like, not even Hitchcockian, but these cool little devices that they do in it to make it seem even creepier. And they ramp up the anxiety and the pressure in the movie. And I think it's like it's not as talked about as it should be. I think it's actually a really good movie, Do
you ever think he gets his home cassettes mixed up with his work cassettes? He's like, baby, toddler stabbed. And it's like Barney's 8th birthday. And they get him switched.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah. He dubbed the wrong tape on.
Yeah.
Oh, let's watch your birthday party video. Ah!
Was that a toddler being stabbed?
Scarring children.
Why would you have this? Oh, that's my work thing. Sorry, honey.
Oh, guys, sorry. I mixed up my tapes.
It's gotta happen sometimes.
Well, no. Well, now it's all, but yeah,
Now
I'm
it's
sure
all
it
digital,
did.
yeah.
I'm sure it did in the past. I'm sure when they had those, because he was like working off like a VHS camera even. But it's not supposed to be set in the past. Like it's supposed to be like modern day and the time.
Sure. Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. Definitely a creeper.
But I couldn't think of something to defend it against, but I was like, I would defend it against a lot of those same types of movies. Because
that's a good question.
It's like it pulled off. I talk about this a lot. I always mention this, but I think it makes sense when I say it. Like, if a movie pulls off exactly what it's supposed to, I think it's a success. And I think that movie, it didn't go outside of its, some movies kind of like, they try to go too big or they try to go outside their weight class and they try to really become, and they fuck it up. This movie, it stayed within its own lines, with its own boundaries.
Agreed.
and nailed what it was supposed to do. Like, and it wasn't supposed to be this, it wasn't supposed to be The Godfather, and it wasn't supposed to be, and I think
good assessment.
It was, absolutely. So, so it's worth checking out. If you haven't seen Nightcrawler, definitely check it out. It's a good, like, easy to digest thriller,
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So that's all I watched for this week,
Yeah, I had the only watched Barb and Star as well. I didn't get to see too much. I am, are you there? Crud.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I lost you. You froze for a second.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. You froze for a second, but now you're back. I can see your big, beautiful face. There he is.
Giant Irish head.
We teased this last week, and boy, am I excited for this topic. I don't know why I'm so excited. It's a little bit morbid, but we are going to go over our favorite death scenes, not necessarily the best death scenes or not most saddest or greatest or coolest, just our favorites. At least that's the way I did my research.
And before it is a little bit morbid. And before we start, I got to tell you, I was talking to Megan about it. I go, oh, we're going to do our favorite movie deaths on the podcast today. She goes, it's a good one to do? Do E from Entourage. And I go, wait, what?
I think we should see other people.
I go, E from Entourage. But she goes, no, E from Entourage in The Notebook. The way the guy, she goes, it's hilarious how he dies in The Notebook, because there's like the one scene they show him joining the army, and the next scene he's just dead. She's like, it's hilarious. Like, that's.
I was gonna say, I don't remember Entourage taking that dark a turn.
That's what I said. But I go, you know how much fun it would be to have a whole episode dedicated to how would E die in Entourage? And and then she goes, it's got to be something in the Playboy Mansion. I go, yeah, he drowns in the grotto at the. He gets
it wasn't a choice for the Stooges. One of my favorite lines in the history of the show. That wasn't a choice.
It's great. He gets suffocated by boobs of some sort.
E's death in Entourage would definitely be. Turtles would be like sneaker related. Like his mouth and his sneakers would fall over him and crush his stupid fucking turtle head. E's
would just be like just him. I don't even know. Like, he can't, like, he's just, being funny. Like, he's so indecisive in the show. It would just be him like trying to cross the street and getting hit by a car. Like, he's like, should I go this way or this way? This way or this way? I don't know which way I should go. And
he gets kidnapped
by a car. I feel like wouldn't that just make the show such a different show if the movie comes out and they murder E by the end of the movie?
Absolutely.
Let's do Entourage murder mystery. E dies and we have to figure out who killed E.
Well, I hated how they tried to make Adrian Grenier. What was his fucking character's name in the movie?
Vinny Chase.
Vinny Chase. They tried to make him like the bad boy. Like, he started getting into drugs and was dating Sasha Grey, the porn star.
If you want to see a lesson in a movie, in a TV show going too many seasons, watch Entourage.
Yeah.
Like, that's a show that started out having a sense of humor about itself.
Yeah.
And by the end, they became the thing that they were making fun of in the beginning of the show.
100%. 100%. Yeah, became Mark Wahlberg personified.
But absolutely, if you watch the last few seasons, they have it where he has like a pill problem and he has a porn star girlfriend, and it's a whole big thing. And they're worried about.
He's not a badass kind of guy, too. Like, he just doesn't have the face. He doesn't have the. It was just. Ugh.
I think I might have mentioned this on the show before. Do you ever wonder, because he was hired for that role because he's a really good looking guy who's kind of not a great actor. That's kind of the
hilarious.
Point of the show is that like he's a movie star because of his looks. But if you're trying out for a role like that, like he's playing himself. Like he's not it's not like Adrian Grenier is digging deep for, hey, I'm gonna like dumb down my acting skills by a couple of degrees. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah,
I am just Queens Boulevard. I almost had a stroke when I watched that for the first time.
It's great. But back to our topic. We are really excited.
Oh, best deaths, baby.
Best deaths in the movies. I jotted down some that came to mind. I have a couple of obscure ones, I think.
I'm not sure how to rank it. I did mine all out of order.
Mine are out of order too. Actually, no, my top one is probably one of the top ones, but it doesn't matter. We can just go back and forth. We can pitter patter. Right. We can volley. Let's just volley. Let's volley.
Well, I don't know if this is your top one, but I have a feeling this is on your list, even though it's all right. So I'm just going to start with, I'm finished. Eli's death and There Will Be Blood.
Oh, that's a great one. We actually just talked about that.
We did just talk about it. That's probably why it was fresh in my head.
It's a great one. It's one of my favorites. It's on my list. But it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. It kind of looks. I never thought about this before, but when he fucking beats him with the bowling pin, Eli's blood kind of has the look of oil spilling out for the last time. I
guarantee you that's on purpose. It's got to be.
Absolutely, but I just never crossed my mind before.
I never picked that up, and now I want to watch it to see, because there's no way that's not on purpose. It's got to be.
It's just, it's very viscous and slow moving down the bowling alley. But
my God, that's a great pickup. That's 100%. I wonder if that's ever been said. That's really, really good. And there's no way that he didn't do that. There's no way that it wasn't.
Oh, I'm sure. Once it dawned on me, I was like, I'm sure that's on purpose.
Yeah, because you can.
Just a good, solid one to get us nice little whet our appetites there.
Man, talk about the double entendre of he means he's completely lost his mind at that point. He's done. Yep. He's done with humanity. He's done with the conversation. He's done killing him. He's done. There's a million things that he's done doing.
And is finished with his relationship with his son.
Yeah, and we talked about last time. I think we talked about it. It's so visceral. For watching it, you're so happy he's doing it. Like you're so it's a little bit it's morbid for everybody watching it because he's but there's something really pleasurable about him doing it. And
100%.
Yeah, like
I love when an anti-hero is done well. Tony Soprano. I mean, I love an anti-hero. A bad guy that I love is very enjoyable to me.
Yeah, same here.
And he's that character.
And it's funny because they made they made a holy man the real bad guy in that.
Yeah, it's great.
That's such a great play on everything.
I drink your milkshake.
I go.
Oh, buddy, I forgot. I left it at my house. I got a brand new There Will Be Blood poster that I'm going to get framed. I'm so excited for it.
Oh, take a picture of it. We'll put it on the
got to take it. Yeah, I will.
By the way, guys, we have social media for the podcast. I want to mention
absolutely.
Fresh in my brain. It's at the DYM podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you tweet at us, guys. We write right back. We retweet. We follow you right back at the DYM podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And what I'll do is I'll get a picture of Andy's poster and I'll put it on the Twitter.
This is a good one. Defend your murder.
Defend your
murder. In
murder.
some regards. Mine are not all murders, but.
Mine aren't either. The top one on my list, which was
back it down for me. Let's build up to the top one.
Okay, here's a good one. Here's one of my obscure ones. Here's the bottom of my list. Okay. One that I'm sure you didn't think of that I love for a couple different reasons.
Ooh-wee. All right,
it's not a main character.
That's okay. Not all mine are,
and it's not one of the best. It's not one of the best sequels. But Matthew Modine in Dark Knight Rises.
You're 100% right. I never would have thought of that, but that's a great one.
It's a great one because he's involved in one of the greatest scenes, I think, in that
yeah.
movie.
And it makes you go, all right, it's about time you stopped being a coward because
that's the whole point of his arc was exactly. Because it's funny, like I think they had to do that because they're like, well, we have Matthew Modine in this movie, and he's not the main guy, obviously, but we have to give him a substantial reason for being in this movie. because it's like the audience doesn't care about that cop as much, but that little scene with him, actually finding his balls and figuring it out, and then they show him dead. It's kind of an aside. Showing him dead is kind of an aside because everything. It's kind of cool how you're like, oh man, you were part of this, and now they're not even making mention of you being dead. They're just showing, hey, this is what happened to you, but you finally got your redemption. You came full circle a little bit. But one of my favorite things in the movie is right before he does leads that charge is the reaction of the cops.
Yeah.
When Batwing flies over the whole crowd of cops and they go,
oh, totally.
And he's part of that. That's why I love it. I know.
It's like an overtime goal. It's a great reaction.
Yeah.
I like this one too because it ties back into last week's episode where Private Joker should have died in Full Metal Jacket, played by Matthew Modine.
There you go.
All right, I'll give you. Let's see. I want to give you a good one here. This one's kind of an obvious one for me. It's I guess I'll just get it out of the way. It's 3 tied into 1. It's many of the deaths in Jaws. Obviously, Quint is an amazing death in just the way that he was this mythic character almost. This man who was on the USS Indianapolis, this World War II veteran, this lifetime career shark hunter, and the way that he eventually obviously gets eaten by a shark. There was only one way for him to die, and it was that way. But I also love the death of Bruce the shark. I mean, the smile, you son of a bitch, and then getting shot by Brody in the tank in his mouth is also an amazing death. And I also love Alex Kintner's death. It's the second death in the movie, but it's the little boy, and it's the first one where you get a glimpse of Bruce the shark, and it's the first one where you go, holy shit, what the fuck was that? When you see that for the first time, try and put yourself back into that moment. I've seen it a billion times now, so it doesn't have the same effect. But the first time you see that and the blood gush out of the water and it's a child, you go, Jesus Christ. And you have the same reaction as the people on the beach going, did you see that? What the fuck was that? It's just an amazing death. Like Spielberg really knew what he was doing in portraying death in those movies. He builds up slower, like with Chrissy Watkins, it's a violent death, but you don't ever see the shark. And it just sets the tone where shit is going to go wrong this entire time. And then you have Kintner die, and then you have Quint die, and then you have finally the shark. It's just a beautiful, well-made. The movie's so fucking perfectly made, man.
I think you're right. The other thing I wanted to say, Quint is actually on my list. I don't have, but I will say one of the things I just thought of when it comes to his death is, and you're absolutely right. It's like this legendary dude meets his demise by the shark, especially after you hear that the hell that he went through in that story that he tells on the boat, and then you're like, oh, this fucking, and then it happens again, and then he just loses again against the shark. Like that's maybe why the story is why maybe you'd think like, oh, I'm not going to go down by a shark. Like I survived this, I'll survive. So maybe like subconsciously it's adding more of an element of surprise when he actually does die.
Chief, that was the time I was most scared, waiting for my turn. Ew, shivers.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's such a, first of all, like a lesson in fucking acting. It's like,
oh my God, it probably is my favorite 4 minutes in a movie ever. I love it. I can watch it over and over again.
It's so good. But the other death that you're right about all the deaths in the movie, because even the first one, the opening scene is a great death with the girl going in the water.
Chrissy Watkins.
Yeah, that's a great terrorizing death. So
I'm not drunk. I can swim, just too drunk. It's a great death. Yeah, I'm an Islander.
So I do have Quint. I had Quint on my.
All right.
And I'll tell you another one that I probably not on yours, but it is a cool death. And then I'm going to tell you why before I say it, because of how absurd it is, and you know how much we love this movie, and it's a cool death, and because you don't expect it. And I'll tell you why in a second.
I think I might have this. Oh,
what are you gonna say?
Go for it. No, tell me.
Buster Scruggs from Buster Scruggs.
I don't have Buster, but I have the girl who got rattled on it. I have Zoe Kazan's character from Buster Scruggs. Do you remember the sequence? It's the one where she's going out west and she loses her dog, but she's been in this romance with the cowboy.
That's a brutal
but she's looking for the dog. this Indian warpath comes along, and they're killing everybody. And then her cowboy savior comes along, but they make a pact because things aren't looking good. That he goes, keep this gun, but if I die out there, these guys are going to kill you and rape you and do awful things to you. So if I die, kill yourself.
Yeah.
And it was very romantic, but also, listen, it's also to save yourself from torture. So she just kind of freezes up, and you don't see what happens to the cowboy, but then the cowboy comes back, and she assumed he was dead, and you go, no!
It's brutal.
What the fuck? Brutal death. I had a Buster Scruggs on my list.
That's funny because but Buster Scruggs himself, the reason why I love it is because it's so ridiculous. I remember thinking when I first started watching Buster Scruggs, I'm like, the whole movie is going to be about this guy Buster Scruggs.
Same here.
And to have the guy in the title of the movie die in the first 10 minutes of the movie is always a giant, crazy death to have.
Yeah.
Have him, they almost have him like it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I also have on the list. Judge Doom. It's like when the weasels die in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and they become the ghost. They had that happen to Buster Scruggs, but it's like, the way it's shot's really cool because he looks at his hat and the bullet holes through his hat. It's a cool way that I don't think it's ever been done.
Absolutely, I really, I'm about due for another rewatch. It's been enough time has passed now. But just to tie one in,
story-wise, Zoe, because like that death is brutal. Brutal.
So like, that one was on my list, and she is married to another person on my list, Eli from There Will Be Blood. Zoe Kazan and Paul Dano, married in real life.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this! It's all so incestuous.
I know it's all a rich tapestry.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I'll give you one that I thought might have been on your list, but it's three deaths. It's the Mexican standoff in Reservoir Dogs.
Ooh, it's Joe. Not on my list, but I should have had that one on there.
Yeah, it's just one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Stop pointing at my dad.
Yeah, everybody's screaming at each other, and just the Mexican standoff. You got Chris Penn screaming. You got Joe. I know you think this. You're right, but this is a good kid. You got what's his name? He's just it's so great. It's so great.
He goes, you think this very good friend of ours is just gonna up and decide out of the fucking blue? One of my favorite things ever in a movie. He's gonna up and he's like spitting.
Oh,
he's
great.
like so bad. He's gonna up and decide out of the fucking blue.
Yeah. It's so fantastic. And then they shoot, and then it's like the first in my young movie watching career, that was like the first time I saw that technique of the Mexican standoff. I know it's been older, but like I was just like, that's insane. Wow.
Yeah. You think Chris Penn, when he was alive, do you think he just like would do other shit with that same level of ferociousness? Like he just they don't have his dry cleaning ready, and he's like, you're gonna up and decide not to give you my dry cleaning? I have my ticket. Like
he's renting videos. He's all of a sudden you don't have Beethoven out of the freaking blue. I called ahead and reserved it.
Late fees. He's renting. Christopher Penn getting upset about the littlest shit.
Yeah. You mean to tell me out of the freaking blue?
Out of the freaking blue. They cancel his dentist appointment.
Like Chris Penn over here.
They cancel his dentist appointment. He's up and decide out of the fucking blue.
You're not gonna give me 24 hours notice? The Mexican standoff scene and R.I.P. Chris Penn and R.I.P. Big Joe and whatever the character's name was that he played. What was his name? And so yeah, that's just one of my all-time favorites. Had to put it on there. All Tarantino movies have great deaths, though.
They really do. I was just talking to Mike we had to take a break on the podcast, and I was just talking to Mike for a sec. He brought up a great one, Marvin from Pulp Fiction.
Oh, that is a good one. Shot Marvin in the face.
Oh, he shot Marvin in the face. He must have hit a bump or something. That's what he says.
Tarantino has great deaths, man. They're bloody and violent and fun.
Yeah, think about even Kill Bill. Like with the 88. What are the not 88 thieves? What are they called?
Yeah, the crazy 88s.
Crazy 88s. Just how is that? couldn't that hands down be one of the bloodiest scenes in a movie
Yeah.
ever in the history of film? Like, it's got to be, right?
I may be wrong about this, but isn't the reason they went to black and white for the majority of that killing scene was so it wouldn't be rated X or something because of all the blood and gore?
That makes sense to me. I think you are right. I think I heard that. I think that's true. That makes so much sense. Because even like, a lot. Think about it. Tarantino has a lot of great death scenes. Even
probably one in every movie.
Things that you're not even thinking of as death scenes, like the standoff in the bar in Inglourious Bastards is a great. Leading up to that is one of the best scenes ever.
Absolutely.
The Lucy.
Well, Lucy, I was going to say if you want the first scene in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's a death scene. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Au revoir, Shoshana.
Au revoir, Shoshana.
God, he is such. I'm so glad he won for that role because it's so evil and perfect and so great. But
apparently they were. I read something. I don't know if we mentioned this in the podcast. Do you know Tarantino they couldn't find somebody for that role, and he was at the point where he was going to not do the movie because he couldn't find somebody for the role. And then Christoph Waltz came in and he knew all those languages and he was like the perfect person
so great.
for the role. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. That should happen all the time, I think, with these guys. These auteurs are just like, if this one thing's not perfect, we're not doing this.
Sure.
Which is why these things end up so great, because these guys are artists. They're such complete artists.
It's the kill your babies theory. I just read a great book by John Cleese, Creativity. It's just a quick little fun read, and it's beautiful. But it's the idea of you have to kill your babies, meaning ideas. Mostly when talking about collaboration, but it's like your original idea is your baby, and you may be in love with it, but it might not be the best idea. So you have to be willing to kill your baby, and it's like, so you might have killed the whole movie if you couldn't find that one specific actor, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But what do you got for me over there, Shawnee D?
I got another one that I kind of mentioned already. Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a great death scene.
That's funny because that blew my mind when I was a kid. I was like, he was a cartoon the whole fucking time?
Yeah.
And he killed his brother?
Yeah. I killed him. Remember me, Eddie, when I killed your brother? And he turns into a tune or whatever it is, and then he perishes in the movie. It's such a cool. That's the reason I picked it, because one of the reasons I'm like, is because how much it freaked you out as a kid. He was such a great villain as a kid. I was probably 10 when I saw that movie.
Yeah, it was kind of a scary death for a kid.
Remember, even when he has the vat of dip and he holds the shoe and he kills that little squeaking shoe.
Oh, didn't you wasn't that heartbreaking?
Heartbreaking.
The noise it made.
Oh yeah, dude. It's terrifying when you're a kid. Like, when you're a kid, you're like, it would be. Even now, if I saw it, I'd be like, oh my God. I'd be like, it would like affect me now. You know.
Sure.
So that's why I picked his death, because it definitely had an effect on me when I was younger. Like, it definitely. Like, it was like, oh yeah, like it was like satisfying, but also freaky at the same time. You know?
Yeah. How is it Christopher Lloyd has looked the same for 50 years? He's just never changed.
Well, that's like that. It's like, well, now he's looking older, but
now he is probably.
When he did Back to the Future, and that's that great part of that John Mulaney bit where the guy who pitched Back to the Future, and he goes, so he's friends with this scientist, and he's either 50 or 80. Such a great fit. Such a great fit.
Well, I'll take you back if we're talking childhood here. This one had a real, again, to use the word, visceral effect on me. It was when the first time I saw the Children of the Corn and they killed off all the elders in the town, I got noticeably like sick.
Remind me, how do they do it again?
They poison them. They take fucking machetes. It's a gruesome death scene. They just start killing people in the town. It's all these weird Amish looking farmer kids. They've got like that, what's that, like cleaver? They've got those like medieval weapons, the one blade, and it's just fucking gruesome. And the first time I watched it was I was a kid. I was a freshman year in high school.
These creepy homeschool kids just killing everybody.
Yeah, Malachi. They've all got Bible names. And it fucking really made me like ill. It was the first time that ever happened to me where I was like, I don't feel good after watching that. Scythe, yes, the scythe or the sickle.
Scythe
Thank
or
you, Mush.
sickle. Oh Jesus, yeah, that's like some.
And it's just, it was brutal, and it was just like that was the first like death scene I remember like physically affecting me because I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking dark and scary and gross.
I'll tell you right now.
At the same time.
I'll tell you really quickly as an aside. What would you rather? You're driving down or walking down a dark road in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather run into a vampire than run into one of those kids. I'd rather full on run into a monster that I can outrun that isn't as diabolical than one of those kids. They are terrifying to me.
They're terrifying.
Yeah.
Any kid with an accent and dressed like a fucking Amish farmer is just
any kid that can quote the Bible. That's a problem.
Yeah. And he's talking about somebody who's not there. He's like, they're ready for you.
Yeah.
Like, no, who's ready for me?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Are they talk in vagueness? It is time. What is time?
Hey, wait. Time for what? Dinner?
Time for lunch? Yeah.
That's how you know we're two fat guys. We go to meals.
It is time now. Yeah. Anytime like a kid that looks like that and acts like that uses the word altar, you know that there's a problem.
They're waiting for you at the altar. What do you mean? I'm here on a job interview.
I want vacation. What are you talking about?
Yeah, give me Dracula any day. I agree. Holy
yeah. At least he's got personality. Those kids are
guys just a little thirsty.
Talk about a bunch of wasps with these a bunch of drips. These kids
talk about white privilege.
Talk about white privilege. Yeah, that's the ultimate white privilege. The ultimate white privilege is if you're a Children of the Corn kid, murdering with reckless abandon. Just absolutely.
That is such a millennial thing to do. Anybody over 13 can't hang with us.
Yeah. Forget about Al Franken. Can we cancel some of these? Can we cancel some of these Children of the Corn kids? Can we shut down the Twitter accounts of some of these Children of the Corn kids?
Even that's kind of a scary phrase. They're coming to cancel you. You're like, huh? What? Who? Twitter. What?
Give me some diversity with these. Yeah, that's the thing. That proves to you diversity is a good thing. Because if you showed up and you saw some diversity with these kids, you would be like, all right, I'm not as scared of them. The minute you see they all have the same haircut, it's like the band Hanson if they were homicidal.
Yeah, the COC, not a diverse group.
So I got what it was. Let's see what we got. So I got another one that's probably not on your list. A Judge Doom we did, and I'm jumping around my list a little bit, but this is a good one, and I'm trying to think of a reason I'd put all of these on, and this one was because it's unexpected, it's just absolutely brutal, and it's like you lose once the movie starts to get some hope, you lose all fucking hope in this movie. Like it just becomes. The rest of the movie just becomes a wake. Which one is it?
No, you say.
Ricky from Boys in the Hood.
It's on my list.
Get out of here!
I swear to God, it's on my list. I had a feeling the way you were talking about it. I think I got this one on my list. Ricky from Boys in the Hood is 100% on my list.
It's the way it's shot, the way it's done, the way it's
heartbreaking.
It's technically foreshadowed because that Eazy-E guy is always driving around the whole.
Yeah.
They get into a problem with them at the thing. You don't think much of it, but it's there. The writing on the wall is there the whole movie that something's going to happen to this fucking guy.
Everything was going too good. He gets his SAT scores back. He scored high enough to go to USC. And then the way is that Kim Wayans in that role that plays his mother?
Is it Kim Wayans? No,
it looks exactly like Kim Wayans.
Isn't it the one? No, it's like Kim Wayans is the one that was a little bit chubbier.
Her reaction is brutal. Even the way she blames Doughboy for it is brutal because it's like, dude, she didn't have anything to do with his death. He's gonna go out and avenge his brothers. But like, I felt so bad for Doughboy when he brought Ricky home, like his bloody body, and his mom goes nuts, and she's like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And he just walks out of the house. It's fucking heartbreaking. Tyra Farrell. That's you.
Tyra Farrell. Okay. Yeah. But she doesn't like Kim Wayans. But I figured Kim Wayans was too young.
Young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always felt so bad for Doughboy.
I felt awful for Doughboy. It showed the dynamic of the family. Once when that scene happened and Like, yeah, it's also, it is unsettling to have you think like, oh, she's just going to be sad. But then when she gets angry, you're like, this is unsettling as well. Like, this is like a weird.
Yeah. I mean, she's clearly, it's like, I don't love you as much as this other child.
Yes.
Like, you're a piece of shit to me. This is where I put all my, eggs in this basket. He was good. And then the kid, the baby's there and there's his girlfriend. Oh, brutal death. That's it. It made my list, bro. That was a tough one for me.
Also, perfect use of slow-mo. Like, slow-mo can be overused in movies. Oh, my God. It was 90s movies, they used it a lot, slow-mo. But, man, it was a perfect use of slow-mo. But I'm glad we both had it on our list because it's one that affects you when you see that movie.
Absolutely. Here's the one that's you don't see coming and is obviously not, have the heaviness because it's a dark comedy. But boy, you hated to see Donnie go in Lebowski, didn't you?
You did. Yes, you absolutely did. And it comes out of nowhere as well.
Right. And he even says it in the bed. You have the drifter in his voiceover. Sam Elliott, he goes, that's a hell of a story. Didn't like to see Donnie go, and it's just like, it is. So you go, why? But then then you read that thing where it's like, oh, the Coen brothers just love killing Steve Buscemi. And you're like, that might have just been the reason they want at the end.
Yeah, it's almost like it's very like cartoonish, but also you feel bad as well. Like,
poor Donnie.
Like the feeling you get when you see Donnie die is like if you found out like somebody you hadn't seen, like an acquaintance died or something, like that kind of feeling. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that guy,
like your uncle.
It's like the guy that you never knew his last name died. That guy. That guy died.
Like your uncle.
Like your yeah. Andy's not really hanging out with his uncles these days.
Gave us a great song by a band called Wussy, one of my favorite bands. They actually have a song called Donnie's Death Scene, and it's a great fucking song. So check that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really cool stuff.
Also, as an aside, you know what I started listening to because of such strong recommendation from my friend Andrew Fiore, the Hold Steady.
Hey, and I'm wearing a Hold Steady. I think you love him, dude.
I like him. I'm getting more into it. I'm into
it's one of those ones that just grows over time. And then once you see a live show, you're in for life.
I'm sure they have that feel to them. I can see that being the case. And then somebody wrote online about how they do a great version of Atlantic City, and that's what I listened to first.
Nice. Yeah. So they're doing like a Friday afternoon show on March 6th. They're doing a Brooklyn Bowl, obviously webcasting it. We'll have to get together, get a little day drunk, and watch the Hold Steady live.
Oh, let's do it. I'm down for that.
All right, sir. Sounds good.
Great. Yeah.
So that was me, Donnie. What else you got?
So I have two left on mine. Do you want to do another one because you have more than me?
Yeah, sure. I have another really tough one for me the first time you see it.
I have mine are two biggies, but yeah,
you might have this one, Apollo.
Oh no, I don't have this. No, I don't.
Rocky
I don't
IV,
think
man.
Rocky right away. Oh, that's a brutal one.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, sets up a great film, but you just go, I hate how Apollo had to die for this to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it has that same feeling as like when you have the Vietnam movies and the friend in the Vietnam movies dies.
Yeah.
Like it has that same like that. It's super dramatic and like a Bubba. Yeah, exactly. The white guy, black friend. Yeah, but it's a brutal one. It definitely is. Yeah, but my mind doesn't go to Rocky movies right away. But that's definitely that's a tough one. That's a real tough one because it's also like when it happens. First off, it's in one of the worst Rockies. It's like one of the best moments in one of the worst Rockies.
Do you think 4 is that bad?
Well, I think it's better now because of the Creeds. We talked about that. But I don't think it's technically a good movie. I think it's such a 90s movie. It's so 90s.
Yeah, I still think it's in the 80s, but
well, I mean, whatever, late 80s. It's like 89, isn't it, or something like that? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, but it's very. You don't think it's a little bit cheesy that they're like?
It's a little bit cheesy, but it's the cheesiest one of the first 4, definitely.
The first Rocky is like
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of it nostalgically.
If the first Rocky was made now, it'd be an independent movie. Like
absolutely, absolutely.
Rocky IV by that point was like, hey, we're in this franchise and we're
right. Yeah,
but it was such a celebratory moment when he's coming out and he's dancing. He's got the freaking thing on. It sucks that's the way that match.
That's his hubris. He was too cocky, and it really came back to bite Mr. Creed. But
right in the ass. But then he, his son went on to do great things.
Yeah, I'll just give you another quick one because I technically have like 4 more, but I'll just give you another one. It's kind of a blanket one. It's just everyone who's not Tommy Lee Jones in No Country for Old Men and not Anton Sugar. It's just like, Jesus, dude, this is heavy. You know, like
you mean
everyone dies.
Even side characters. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, one of the most brutal ones that just popped in my brain, the Woody Harrelson one is so brutal. And it's more because of the writing at that point. And it's also talk about the de-escalation of a badass character. Talk about cutting a badass down at the knees. Talk about bolstering the villainy of the bad guy by showing you what, you know what I mean? Like,
well put.
He's basically begging for his life at the end of it. And that was not how you thought that character was going to, how his demise was going to happen if it happened.
What a masterpiece, man.
You thought, like, he didn't even go out in there was no honorable way that Woody Harrelson
no honor among thieves in that one. Boy, those Coens know how to make a movie, don't they?
They sure do.
They have great. We could do a whole movie like on there. You know, I left off the wood chipper just because it seemed hacky at this point. But you know, it's like they really they know how to not hold back, and also I don't know what I'm looking for here in this sentence, but they do death well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You mean they're not. They know how to color outside the lines, for lack of a better
yes.
They know
Thank
how to.
You. Thank you very much.
Think outside the box. They know how to. And they also know how to make a death really entertaining, but also brutal at the same time. Like that's basically what's happening.
I got 3 more, and they're some of the most brutal ones I've ever seen in my life.
Do you want
in terms of how it hit me? But you take a turn.
Let's hear one of those, and then we'll go down to 2 and 2.
All right, I'm gonna give you a real tearjerker right now.
All right.
How do you feel about Artax in Neverending Story, dude?
Oh, doesn't he? I can't even remember.
In the Swamp of Sadness, the horse basically in. Oh my God! When fucking Atreyu's going, Artax, no, fight it, and it's just don't let the sadness take you. When you realize it's in the Swamp of Sadness, and it's like the sadness has overwhelmed him. You're like, no. Don't. Oh my God! It's really more than like it should be handled in a kids movie. They
do that a lot. I think. But I only saw Neverending Story once, and I honestly now the more you're saying that, I think because of how sad it made me, I think that's why I steered clear of it.
Yeah, dude, he's trying to pull Artax. He's trying to pull his horse. He's at the. I mean, the kid's screaming in sad. Oh yeah, just don't let the sadness of the swamp overtake you. And you go, that's a heavy fucking thing, dude. Yeah, it's such a bigger metaphor. It's like, don't let the sadness or that weight of the heaviness of the world overtake you. It's probably a metaphor for suicide, to be honest. You know,
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it absolutely is.
But that any animal death, which we didn't really talk about, but it kind of got me. I mean, any dog, a hooch, Marley.
Well, Marley, I won't even watch the movie. I don't watch the movie.
Yeller.
How about this? I'll tell you a big one for animals. That's a whole sidebar.
I think I know it for you.
Go ahead.
Sam in I Am Legend.
Yes. Oh my God. I can't.
Yeah.
I fast forward it now. I can't take it.
Even fucking Mrs. Bambi. That's a tough one when you're a kid.
Oh, it's totally tough. And Lion King, but I know Lion King's a big one for people, but I don't subscribe to it. I was too old for Lion King.
Yeah. Any animal, I mean, they're just too brutal. Those are, I've gone on records going, yeah, when my fucking last dog died, I cried more than my grandma. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Rickles just, I was in the room. I made a pledge. I don't think I talked about it on the podcast, but like I made a pledge. I'm like, I'll be in the room when it happens. And I make a fucking mistake.
Yeah, dude. No, it's still a good thing that you did, but I mean, I know the feeling. It is
brutal. Yeah. Let me give you one of mine. And these,
sir.
They're actually like, it's good that we were going from a sad note to just two really cool deaths. And one of them, I don't think, maybe it's probably not on your list. Sonny Corleone in The Godfather.
Ooh, great one. Not on my list.
Really cool death because just really fitting for the character. Like almost like a thing where if you're gonna take this guy down, like that proves how much of a badass James Caan is in Godfather. If you're gonna take this guy down, you need a coordinated effort at a toll stop in Long Island, New York. Yeah. That's where it's filmed. It was filmed in Long Beach, I think. It was in Long Beach or something like that.
They shot Sonny on the causeway.
Yeah, and
Great one.
And talk about like, and also it harkened back to like it reminds you of like a John Dillinger thing. Isn't that how he went out? Like he just gets
coming out of the what do you call it? The Valentine's Day Massacre. John Dillinger coming out of the Rialto Theater.
The way it's shot is fantastic because the toll booth guy drops the dime and then shuts the door, and you're like,
good.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Francis Ford Coppola, he goes, I've never before or since put that many blood caps in a person for a death scene.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. But it's
great one.
It's a really, really great death. And it's like, and also to like, I don't know if this is even a thing, but I think I have like a weird thing with lighting in movies. The fact that it's in broad daylight just makes it that much better looking. You know what I'm saying?
It's a massacre. They massacred my boy.
Yeah, they massacred my boy.
I have it. So when Carlo gets killed in the end for setting.
That's a great one too.
It's a great one too. But so just when he goes and sits in the car and just Clemens is in the back, he just goes, "Hello, Carlo."
Yeah.
And so
just nonchalant.
There's a player on the Boston Bruins. His last name is Carlo, and they played the Rangers like twice this week. I swear to God, every time the announcer goes, "Pass to Carlo," I swear to God, every time I go, "Hello, Carlo." Nobody. I just say it out loud, like, "Hello, Carlo."
You're amusing yourself during quarantine.
I totally amusing myself. But yeah, that's a great one. I got two more, and I know these are not on your list. I know for the fact I'll go with the one. And I know you haven't seen it. It's the little girl. It's Charlie in Hereditary.
I haven't seen it.
I know you haven't seen it, and I'm just going to tell you, it's one of the most brutal things I've ever seen. It made me put my hands over my mouth the first time I saw it. I went like that because so what happens? And if you haven't seen Hereditary and you like this kind of horror movie, Ari Aster, I heavily recommend you go watch it. Skip ahead like a minute here because I'm going to give a spoiler. So there's your warning. Spoiler, Hereditary right now. Flip ahead. Last warning. So this little girl is played heavily in the trailer, and she's really a big part of the story. You think this whole thing is going to be about her, right? She's a creepy little girl, like we talked about earlier. And what we don't know is that she's now like possessed by this cult or whatever. This demon thing is inside her. And to get this demon into the firstborn son, they have to murder this little girl. So they go to this high school party. You know, she's allergic to peanuts. Essentially, fast forward, she goes, eats something with peanuts in it, goes into anaphylactic shock. Her brother runs her out into the car. They're speeding down the highway. She can't breathe. She's in the back. It's brutal to watch. This child gasping on air, and he's weaving in and out of traffic. And she's going, "Help me, help me." And so he rolls down the window, right? And she puts her head outside the car, and it cuts back, and you see a moose or a deer in the middle of the fucking road, and he swerves to avoid hitting the deer. And all of a sudden you see her and a fucking telephone pole and just go thud, and it just takes her fucking head right off. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. I went, the first time I saw it, dude, I fucking went, did they just fucking decapitate a child like that? You hear just,
oh my God. It's also brilliant filmmaking though, because you're
totally
talking about misdirection. Jesus Christ.
Misdirection. I had no idea it was coming, but holy hell, that's one of the greatest horror death scenes I've ever seen because of the misdirection and because you don't see it coming. And, you know, not for nothing, the brutality of it. It's a fucking child. And you go, Jesus, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
brutal one.
Oh, I can't take those movies.
I know.
Do you want to hear my last one?
Yes, sir.
My last one, it's a biggie. We talk about this movie all the time in the podcast, and it's such a dramatic and it's perfect, and it's perfect for this type of movie. Hans Gruber in Die Hard.
Oh,
great dad.
Yeah, great one.
Great dad off the building, and also like action packed up until the last minute because he's pulling the wife off with the watch because she's caught on the watch, and then finally all they got to do to get rid of him is they loosen the watch, and then him just going like I think there's something behind that where either they didn't something where he didn't know, like it's actually a pretty genuine reaction. He didn't know something
Absolutely.
about that fall.
I forget who directed Die Hard, but
John McTiernan.
Yeah. When they said if you watch in the how we the movies we love, how they were made on Netflix,
yeah, that's where
really
I heard
great.
it. I forget what it was. Yeah.
Apparently, they set up a drop mat for him, so they did actually like drop him off like I think it was like 20 feet or something. But I think they like jumped the gun and like we're like, all right, in 3, 2, and then like they dropped him on 2.
Yes, that's right, exactly.
To get that reaction out of what's his name?
Out of Alan Rickman.
Alan,
it's the perfect reaction. It's a perfect reaction, and it's so satisfying as the moviegoer. But you're watching it, and you're like, oh, finally, it's this guy. The villain's dead.
Yeah. That's a great one.
I put that high on the list because of how much I love that movie.
Absolutely. And my last one, just the way this list kind of worked out, is not my favorite one of all time, but one that I really makes me sad every time, but also makes me kind of think and really makes me think about death and what it's actually like when that moment comes, because it's something I like Woody Allen. I think about it a lot. It's Lester Berman in American Beauty.
Oh yeah, because you like you talked about this, the line, and it gets you every time.
I like the way he goes about describing the moment you die. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what that's like, and who knows if it's different for everybody. Is it the same for everybody? But I love how he just goes, they say when you die, your life flashes before you in whatever it is. He goes, it's not like that at all. It's over time, and you see all your favorite memories on Earth. And just the way he describes, he goes in Caroline, and he shows a little picture of his baby girl, and then it shows 2 pictures of his daughter Jane when she's a baby, and then as she grows up, he goes, and Jane. And then there's a beat, and it shows the older picture. He goes, and Jane. And the double Jane fucking gets me every time. And then he just goes, it's basically him appreciating the ordinary life that he led. He just goes, you probably won't think about it, or you probably don't know what I mean. He goes, but you will. And it's just something, how I appreciate every single moment of my stupid little life. And it's just it's a really beautiful ending. I know the movie might not hold up anymore. We canceled Kevin Spacey.
We said it. Yeah. Well, I heard this. I heard there's a new movie with Kevin Spacey where he dies in it, and he describes what it's like for the last moments of your career, not your. so, and he goes, and lawsuits, and sexual harassment, sexual harassment. Yeah.
Oh man, but that's that one's always
a good one. That's a great one. That's a great death scene, because you're right. They don't. It's the length of it is what gets you when you're watching. Like the length of it, like the description. You're right. It's heavy duty, heavy duty. And a lot of people don't want to like it. That's why it's so effective, because you don't want to hear that, or you do want to hear it, but you don't, because you're like, it's upsetting because you're thinking of your own death while you're watching it. This
is going to sound weird to say. We spent an hour and a half talking about it. I go, are great movie deaths my favorite? There's sometimes my favorite things about movies, probably because they hit you and make you feel the most. Obviously, laughter and humor and humility, like something that really makes you laugh as you feel good. But like most of my favorite movies are dramatic movies. You know what I mean? I didn't have Cool Hand Luke on here just because it's, you kind of, I don't want, we can go on talking about death.
We got to wrap things up. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think a good movie death might be my favorite thing about movies, which is so morbid and dark.
Best parts of movies, because it's so emotional, because it's so relatable. It's like
when done well, forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we've kept Michael too long here on this.
Sorry, Mikey. I had to take a big shit in the middle of it.
I would like Andrew Fury. We call him, Bruno Indian Head. Can we please tell the people where they can find us, first of all, and then also where, your social media and all that jazz?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Shawnee, if you haven't gotten sick of listening to our dumb voices yet, you can find our radio shows on SiriusXM Satellite Radio. We each have a show, if you can believe that. Shawnee has one great show. It's called Celebrate. It's on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on Raw Dog 99. Fast forward 24 hours later, I have the Raw Report on Thursdays on Raw Dog 99 at 4 p.m. I believe we have the same big guest this week. We did, actually. Now that we both had The Machine on this week.
Both had Bert Kreischer, yeah.
So, and those are always on demand. You can find all the old shows. It's a fun thing. I listen to NHL radio and music all day. Just go download it if you don't even want to hear comedy. But it's so fantastic. And they're always running deals. So
and
go
guys,
get that.
And also, if you want to check out the podcast, it's at the DYM Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Tweet at us. We cannot tell you more to tweet at us. We'll respond. We'll talk to you guys. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear what you think about the podcast.
Please.
Also, subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast. Also, check out Andy. Check out Andy. He's pooping. He's living.
Check me out.
It's at Andy Fiore on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
I
have a date to promote.
Oh, let's hear it.
March 13th, City Steam. I'll be headlining there. One show only. It's cheap, $20 or whatever, but go to City Steam Brewery. It's a Hartford, Connecticut. So I haven't done a long set in a while. I mean, I haven't really done much stand-up, lately, but it's all safe and social distance and all that good stuff. It is inside, but we will be very socially distanced and safe. And come out and holler at me and bring a potato, and say what's up.
And you guys, you can check me. I'm at Shawnee Time on Instagram and Twitter. That's SEANYTIME. And I do not have any dates, but I will have some coming up. I have a couple of things in the works, but it's not definite yet. But we want to thank the Laugh Button. We want to thank Mushy Mike for putting up with us, all these shenanigans. And we will see you guys next week. Right, Andy?
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.